Lay, it is not written here, and the enemies will be the family themselves. Who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Who does not take your cross and does not follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever seeks your life will lose it, and whoever loses his life because of me will find it. It is not Sao Paulo who is saying this, not John, it is Jesus. It is a text said by the Master himself. Look how interesting, my people. When you realize that this harsh word of Jesus is to help us understand the cross of life. He didn't come to pass butter on bread. He did not come to propose to him with each other. Christ himself tells us that this sword he puts within our relationships is precisely to make us grow. It is to make the papers well. It is the experience of confrontation that this we will live all our lives. Do not think that your relationship with your mother is a beautiful relationship that will never be questioned. No, it's not like that. The mother and daughter relationship, if you do not establish this confrontation at the right time, peace is not enough, because that veiled conflict is. It's not like this. The same thing in our relationship indoors. When you realize that there is a conflict that never resolved because the issues were never put out. He had the courage to put on the table. I remember well. The day because the minor has a hard time establishing a clash with his own mother. The mother is a sacred territory that we do not have the courage to question. And I remember that this is very cultural. We come from a family, a matriarchal cultural structure, where women have a great power. And I remember when this conscience came to me and I spoke to my mother, I love you so much. But I am also able to hate her. Then we take that fright, a child hate your mother, not hatred in the sense of wanting to kill. So, mother, you are a sacred territory, but I have to have the courage to recognize the excesses you teased in me. Then, my people, it seems that a sword cuts their hearts. Right? But the resurrection that comes later, because you get rid of you begin to have the courage to establish confrontations with all the respect your mother needs and deserves. Mother is a sacred territory that should never be disrespected, but can be contested at the right time and the right way. You chose to live like this. This is not my choice. So we need to keep loving. We can establish this clash, and we keep living with deep respect for each other. And so, when Jesus says that he brought this clash, this sword, is not to separate us from each other. No, it is to unite us the right way, because sometimes a union only really happens after many conflicts. We need to get rid of the naive views. This person is perfect. Look how beautiful our love is. Then it lasts 2-3 years until the princes remove the masks, and you find that it is just a rhino that had a cute face at first, and is a monster capable of trampling everything you have the most sacred. So we remove the naive view of our relationships, and then you start to have a palpable terrain where love is possible. Yes, imperfect people can love and establish very beautiful, very edifying, very interesting relationships. But then from now on, I will dispute everything. No, it's not like that. Be wise. It begins to identify what in your life needs to be confronted. Many situations are not resolved, but we don't do the right way because we complain all the time. All the time we complain, we scream, but we do not confront. The confrontation is when you mark the time, the place, sit everyone at the table, or sits you and your husband and speak. Look. Do you know what you are doing? This is not fair to me, it is not fair to your children, and if you do not make a decision, we will act. It's the same to be assaulted, right? There are people who get used to the aggression. The whole life is assaulted and gets used to the condition of victim. It's not like this. It can't be like that. We have to problematize what in life is assaulting us. Because sometimes aggression is not a slap, it is not a kick. It is not. It's a word, it's a look, It's a posture, it's a way of interpreting. So, if I interpret the other as an eternal territory where I can manifest all my wrath, where I can dump all my excesses. So if we do not establish the confrontation that will break this process that gets sick, it is very likely that we die without having the possibility of stepping on the promised land we can reach. Then Jesus continues, "Who loves his father and his mother more than me is not worthy of me." We can first think that Jesus is needy here, right? Oh, he just wants love for him. No, this is also a naive vision. Let's overcome these naive views. Here, the love that Jesus is speaking refers to the ability of us to take everything he teaches us and put it much more important as what my father and mother taught me. May my father and mother, because they are marked by sin, teach me a lot of things. Oh, but it teaches me a lot of wrong things. With his own example indoors, how many of us, you who are watching me, can you say that? How many wrong things in life did you see inside your home? And you don't have to go too far to see the perdition of the world. Sometimes it is inside, with a lack of testimony, with a lack of honesty, with a lack of truth. The vices we criticize so much that they are present around the world. Sometimes they are here inside our home, on our side, being promoted by people who love us and giving an example to children who are growing up. Our sides need conversion, yes, my people. So when Jesus speaks, "Who loves his father and his mother more than me is not worthy of my kingdom." Why? Because it cannot come to the kingdom that is not convinced, touched, modified by the mind of Christ. It is Christianity. It is the mind of Christ in mine. It is the thinking of Christ in mine. And but that looks like a horrible dependence, is it? If you want to look like a dependence, but it is a dependence that only does me good, because there is no word of Jesus. There is not one advice that he has left, which opposes my happiness. Father Fabio, how to identify which cross will take us to heaven? It's the cross of each day, isn't it? I always say the cross is great, but it breaks down in small pieces. There is no Christianity without cross. We cannot admit human life without difficulty. Within Christianity, we call this cross. On the climb of Jesus to the Calvary, he physically took a cross. But all Jesus' life was marked by crosses he had to take. For what? For him to reach the place he needed to arrive. For him to be who he was. Jesus was very aware of the effort he needed to do to be who he was. He gave no respite to his human process. Even though he was God, he was not deprived of being a man. This is very interesting to identify in Jesus, a constant struggle for maturity. Of course, Jesus had to lighten into his heart, within his mind, God's project for his life. It was human, that knowledge of God's project, and he was taking his little cross in everyday life like us. He faced the human difficulties, cried for the friends who died. Must have been annoyed too. Of course, the Holy Scripture shows us, right? He breaking everything there, annoyed with everyone. He lived his cross day to day to be who he was, for him to be who he is. And this project for us too, my son. We have all the forces of the sacrament that incorporate us into the life of Christ for us to handle this cross. I keep thinking, guys, that we need to fight all the time so we don't get lost, so we don't miss the opportunity to be who we are. And we couldn't be who we are. This potential that God put in each of us. The priest I went to today is the priest God expects me to be. The father you got to be today for your children. The friend you were. The boyfriend you were. Is it what God projected? I do not believe it is, because there is still much to be sought. And how are we getting there? As we assume our sacrifices, our day-to-day struggles. And that's what we call the cross. And this human fulfillment is a way of anticipating in time this coming to heaven. This arrival in the sky is eschatological. It will happen definitively at the time of our death. Or not, right? It depends on what we were doing, the sky we built here, but they unfold into historical responsibilities. Today, I have the opportunity to choose to be who I will be. And that is to assume my cross or not, because though I am a good human being, for me to make a pact with kindness, I have to make my sacrifices. Evil always leaves a message in my window. Evil will always knock on our door, trying to seduce us, trying to make us leave. Oh, it doesn't make this sacrifice today, right? Live light, right? It is a process that we cannot neglect. The cross of each day, the suffering of each day are definitive so that we can become who we can be. Otherwise, we die without getting there. Days without having known, without updating in life, the potential God has placed in us. It's very sad, right? You see a bitter person dying without being who she could have been. It is unfortunate when you discover that a person decided to waste the time of her life being a miserable, living these miseries, assuming these miseries in the wrong way. To assume the cross and carry this cross is that we manage the miseries well, and what makes us suffer. So much bad thing happening in the world. Where is this born? It is born among people like us. So many bad things are designed around the world, so much violence being gestated, so much injustice being practiced. Why? Someone decided to be bad. Someone decided not to take the cross. Someone decided not to make the sacrifice to be better. Because it is hard to be people. It is hard work to be better. You have to fight every day. You can't neglect. Because if not soon, you become selfish. Soon you become jealous. In a moment, you start to harm others. Why? Because it did not make the sacrifice to tame his willow. And these are things that are part of Christianity, and sometimes we stop talking. How many times do we omit to talk about it? No. Christianity is a cross. Yes. Enjoy. And I live seeking my joys every day, but from my crosses. My life is real. The joy does not rain in the backyard of my house every day. I have to open the space for it to happen. It is built at 4 hands. God delivers the gift, but I do my part. My effort. So identifying the cross that takes us to heaven is that you look forward. Find out what today in life needs to be administered. What difficulties you have. This is your cross. This is the sky. Starting or not. Sometimes we advance the construction of the sky.